Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me again today. I'm Douglas and this is the Highland Hikers. So you should hopefully be able to see behind me a small town down there with a couple of lochs either side of it. That's Lochwinnoch down there, and you've got Castle Semple Loch and Barytes sort of flanking the town. So why have I come here today? Well, I have to say I saw Alistair's recent video where he went up Duncombe and I was a bit jealous of him. He was out in the countryside pretty much by himself the whole time, and I thought, oh, it's been a long time since I've got to do something like that. And I saw he'd made use of the fact that you can travel up to 5 miles outside of your local council area. So Lochwinnoch is in Renfrewshire, but is just under 5 miles outside of East Renfrewshire if you go the most direct route. So I've come to Lochwinnoch today and my plan is to do Hill of Stake. So continuing on with our recent theme of trying to climb tallest peaks in various places, Hill of Stake is the tallest peak in Renfrewshire at a height of 522 metres. So I think that will be the tallest one out of the tallest peaks that we've done so far. I went up Corsill a few months ago. Alistair's been to Cathkin Braes, and then recently you've hopefully seen that he was up Duncombe, and they were in East Renfrewshire, Glasgow and West Dunbartonshire respectively. Hill of Stake actually stands right on the boundary between Renfrewshire and North Ayrshire, but it's only the tallest peak in Renfrewshire. That title for North Ayrshire belongs to Goatfell on the Isle of Arran. So right now I'm about 30-40 minutes into my walk so far. I parked up in Lochwinnoch, and I've spent the last, as I say, 30-40 minutes climbing out of Lochwinnoch up a pretty steep country track. I've just reached the end of that. There's a wee farm right at the end of the road, and you cross over a wee gate and then you head into this countryside area that I'm in just now. I have to say that was a pretty steep climb. So my calves were burning a wee bit by the end of it, but things seem to have levelled out a bit now that we're into the sort of more open countryside area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on the walk and head towards Hill of Stake, although I think there are a few minor hills to cross on the way there, so we will see what we come along. In terms of the route itself, it's a 24-kilometre circuit with about 600 metres of ascent. As I say, I started on the edge of Lochwinnoch. You could also get the train into Lochwinnoch, which I think we can sort of see way back in the distance behind us. Although the train station itself, I'm not really sure it's in Lochwinnoch. It's actually about a mile outside the town. So as I say, I'm continuing on to Misty Law first of all, just along this track. I'm not that far away from it now. I think maybe about 1 kilometre until I get there. And we'll see what sort of views we get up at the top of Misty Law. So, see you when we get up there. So I've made it to the top of Misty Law. You can see there's a small cairn on the ground back there to mark the summit. And we also get some nice views out to Arran. Now, the Corbetts over there of Goatfell and the other ones. It's very windy up here just now, so I have no idea if you'll actually be able to hear me or not. But I'm going to continue my walk on, drop down out of the wind, get a bit of lunch and then head towards Hill of Stake. Once you leave Misty Law, you lose the ATV track and the navigation does become a wee bit more difficult. What you want to do coming off of Misty Law is first of all head towards Arran, basically. If you can see that, which I can today, you'll cross over a fence, and then you keep on going and you'll hit a second fence. When you get to that second fence, there's a path that runs along beside it. I mean, I say a path, it's not much of a path, but you'll see where people have walked before, and that fence should lead all the way along to Hill of Stake. So as you can see, I've got the fence beside me just now, so I'm going to walk along here and I'll hopefully pick you up when I get to Hill of Stake. Well, that's Hill of Stake just come into view ahead of me now, and I think I found the bogs that I mentioned earlier as well. This section between Misty Law and Hill of Stake has definitely had some bogs to negotiate, although certainly not as bad as I was expecting. Based on other reports I'd read, it sounded like I might be bog snorkeling at points, but fortunately that hasn't been necessary, and just a few points where you have to watch your footing and maybe skirt around to the side of a particularly boggy area, but on the whole it's been pretty good going so far. Well, I have made it to the summit of Hill of Stake, the tallest peak in Renfrewshire at a height of 522 metres. I have to say I've got some stunning views up here. Looking north we can see up to Ben Lomond and some of the southern Munros. We've also got Glasgow as well over in that direction. And I think, as Alistair mentioned in his last video, when he was up Duncombe, he thought he could see Hill of Stake from Duncombe. And I'm pretty sure we should be able to see Duncombe from Hill of Stake. I'm not entirely sure which peak it is. They're not particularly prominent enough to figure out, but the Kilpatrick Hills do look to be in that general direction, so it should be one of those peaks back there. I'll see if I can figure out which one it is. But yeah, that's 11 kilometres up to here. It's been a good walk so far. I'm enjoying seeing the rest of it as I continue round on my circuit. It's actually a wee bit disappointing that Alistair wasn't able to join me on this walk, given that he lives just too far from the boundary to make it to here, because I know he absolutely loves pointing out Ailsa Craig and Ben Lomond when we're out on other walks, and you've got great views of both of them from here. So I mentioned the walk I was doing was a circuit, so after getting to the summit of Hill of Stake, I'm not returning back the same way again. I'm heading across some kind of open moor ground at the moment for about 2 kilometres to pick up a track next to a disused mine to head back down towards Lochwinnoch. There's not much of a path to follow along this section, and it's certainly a bit boggy in sections, but again it's not too bad. I suppose it's been mostly dry for the last week, so hopefully I've missed the sort of worst of it. But yeah, do not follow the fence when you head off the top of Stake. That will lead you in not the direction you want to go. You want to head off right from that, and as I say, across this kind of open moor land that has a faint path you can try and follow, but seems to disappear almost as soon as you get onto something. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting to that mine. Not sure what sort of condition it's in or whether there'll be much to see or not, but hopefully there will be something interesting. Success! This is definitely the right path next to the stream to stick to, so if you can find that, you basically want to walk alongside the stream and you'll head down towards the head of the path. You see a few man-made structures down there that let you know you're heading in the right direction. Well, I've made it down to the disused mine, so my walk should be pretty straightforward from now, just following a nice well-made track all the way back down. I'm not sure exactly what I can see in the mines here, but as you can see there's a warning sign up telling us about a danger of falling rocks and unsafe mine shafts. But this whole area is fenced off right here, so can't get in there to see what's actually down there. And there are some other sections behind me there as well, so I'm going to have a wee wander about here and see if there's anything worthwhile pointing out. So just having a look at the details about the mine. This is the Muirshiel Barytes mine. So Barytes, which is also known as barium sulfate, is a naturally occurring mineral which has been worked at this site for about 200 years. Many people locally from Lochwinnoch and Kilburnie worked in the mine, and in the early 1960s up to 48 people were employed. So I assumed this large metal container behind me was just like equipment for the mine or something like that, but turns out it's actually a shelter I guess if you're up here and the weather's bad, you can head inside here and take a wee bit of shelter. Let's take a look inside. So yeah, fairly basic accommodation in here. You've got a table and a few chairs, and interestingly a newspaper as well, which having checked the date, seems to be from just Monday gone. So someone else has evidently been up here recently and decided to leave some reading material for anyone else that might venture this way. So I'm now on the path that leads up to the mine. It's in really good condition, certainly suitable for vehicles, I guess, that need to come up and sort out the bits and pieces at the mine. So the poles are away, don't need them anymore, and I've got about, I think, 10 or so kilometres to get back to the car. Half of it should be along this path track thing. And when I get to the end of this, I'll then reach the Muirshiel Park Visitor Centre, and at that point it will turn into a road, given that cars go up to the visitor centre. So I'm going to, I think, walk quite quickly along this. There won't be much to see along the way, so I might catch back up with you when I reach the visitor centre. So I have made it to the visitor centre at the start of the public road, or the end of it, depending on what way you're looking at it. You can see the visitor centre behind me, which is for the Muirshiel Regional Park, which is apparently the largest regional park in Scotland. It's actually pretty extensive. It kind of runs all the way from Greenock in the north down to Seamill in the south. And if you remember one of our earlier videos from last year when we did the Greenock cut, that's actually part of the regional park as well. So yeah, I'm going to head down the public road and back into Lochwinnoch. Just thinking to myself, I certainly got that isolation and remoteness that I saw in Alistair's video, which inspired me to come out here. It's only just now that I'm back on this public road that I've started seeing other people again, albeit just going past in their cars. I think on the whole walk, in the countryside part of it, I saw 2 other people for the briefest moment as I passed them at the summit of Misty Law, but that was it, nobody else in sight. Really enjoyed it. Nice to get out and just kind of be with yourself again. A lot of the walks we've done recently, there's been loads of people about, so it's not been quite the same. Well, I have successfully made it back to Lochwinnoch. In terms of stats for the walk, it ended up being 26 kilometres in total, and it took me just under 7.5 hours. In terms of the extra distance, I made a slight navigational error again. I was in such a rush to get home that when I came off the kind of country track leading up to the Muirshiel Park, you briefly come on to the B786, and you should only stay on there for 100 metres or so before turning right and heading down Calderglen Road. But unfortunately I wasn't paying attention and I missed that turn off. I did think to myself as I was walking down that road, it seems very busy with traffic, this doesn't seem like the correct route. And yeah, sure enough, it wasn't the right route, but I was already too far down it. I think I was into Lochwinnoch by the time I realised what I'd done. But yeah, I really enjoyed that walk. It was nice getting out into the countryside and having kind of pretty much the whole place to myself. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing that. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel. It's been good seeing you. Hopefully Alistair and I will see you again shortly in whatever our next videos happen to be.